I've been in hotels ever since I started in university, first of all in film and television, doing a Bachelor of Arts, but then changed to hotel management, working for receivership companies going into distressed assets in Australia for PricewaterhouseCoopers, and dealing with tourist attractions, hotels, resorts, and taking them out of, back then it was the global financial crisis, which was a great learning experience of learning how people can stuff up a business, and turning it around was a great challenge. After that, I was in the middle of Australia in Kakadu, where the national parks are and the crocodiles, etc., running a resort there. From there, I joined Hilton, where they took me from Australia to Maldives. I had no idea where Maldives was, and I was given the job of island chief and general manager for the Hilton, which was an amazing experience because it's a very un-Hilton Hilton on idyllic Maldivian islands, where you've got overwater villas, spas, etc., etc.
What it means to be a chief island...
Island chief, or Buddha Khatib in the local language. It's in a city hotel as a general manager. You're an office desk-bound administrator, very sterile environment, paperwork, red tape, whereas in Maldives, as an island chief, because all the staff live on the island, you're self-sufficient, you generate your own power, you generate and process your own drinking water, you deal with your own sewerage. All the staff live on the island, so you'll have 600, 500 staff on each island from 25 different nationalities. And just looking after the staff is an immense challenge, as well as 200 or 150 guest villas of all various different nationalities. So as an island chief, you're the police force, you're the mayor, you're the everything. So you are running a little town or a little city, which sometimes is challenging. Logistics, you're bringing in food from all around the world because everything apart from fish and coconuts is imported. Most challenging is getting the right partner with the right island, with the right concept to develop a very iconic resort. There's now 170, 180 resorts. A lot of the international chains have come in and being very homogenous, very McDonald's, this is what a resort room is, etc., etc. And they haven't taken into account the authenticity of making it a Maldivian island resort. So creating respect for the Maldivians, creating an experience that's like no other. So I've developed underwater spas, developed tree houses that corporate hoteliers would never look at thinking about because they're used to selling box rooms in city hotels. So when you develop a resort, you're taking a virgin green island, conceptualizing what is possible, what can be done, and taking it from its virginity and creating and making an amazing iconic resort. And that, it's like a blank canvas. Very few places around the world you can do that. A city hotel is boxes, 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 people are staying there for the night, whereas Maldives is the most aspirational leisure destination in the world. It's their honeymoon, it's their weekend getaway, it's the time when they're going to propose. It's the time when families are coming back. Tourism first started in 1972 with the first resort. That first resort was very close to Mali. The flight came in with an Italian tour operator through Sri Lanka. It was their first time dealing with guests, and they were trying to work out how to deal with food for them. And the simplicity, instead of thinking that they're not meeting world standards, that simplicity and the authenticity was the attractiveness. A lot of the hotels tried to be more Western in terms of having Maldivian staff dressed with black and whites and uniforms and yes sir, no sir, whatever. But what changed over the years was the personality of the Maldivians, the genuineness and the the experience of that, the fact that five-star resorts didn't mean marble interiors and marble floors and all this sort of stuff. It was sand floors in the restaurants. It was amazing open bathrooms, open air showers. So having a shower under the moonlight or whatever. And those sort of things are just quintessentially Maldivian. Over the years, every year, more resorts come online, more international operators come in, more investors come in. The financial returns are second to none in the world. The rates are incredibly high, even for the more 3-star, 4-star. Yes, there's a lot of costs involved because, as I said earlier, everything apart from fish and coconuts is getting imported. All the staff live on the island. The infrastructure to build on a sandbank is incredibly challenging sometimes. The Maldivian way versus the Western way is quite interesting, and seeing what works in the West doesn't work necessarily in the Maldives. How you deal with that development, how you deal with the return, is very interesting. Some have done it very well. Some have lost a lot of money as well. There's probably about 50 or 60 resorts that have never opened because inexperienced owners with bad advice went bankrupt. And the smart ones listened to the Maldivians, listened to local advice, and created something that was uniquely different. There's too much same in the world. Too many McDonald's. Maldives is not about McDonald's. Hopefully there'll never be one in that country. And that's been my goal, is to not only be different in each project that I've done, but is to create iconic resorts that are attractive and in demand from the future guests, but also having the right staff with the right concept will deliver the returns to the owner. It's a simple formula that many people get it back to front. Obviously, the Maldivians that took the risk early have been rewarded. The second generation and third generation of Maldivian families, some have been very successful, some have been very unsuccessful, because the ones who focused on hotels and resorts did very well. The families that weren't necessarily in them, but in other areas, whether it was medical care or retail or whatever, thought, wow, these guys are making a lot of money doing resorts, let's try and do a resort. And so many of that second generation weren't successful. It's now coming in some of the third generation and fourth generation. And some are working, some aren't working. Well, some GMs have been kicked out of the country and attacked, and my thing is very simple. You respect the Maldivians, you encourage, you train, you develop, and they're an amazing people. And it's bringing them on the journey and getting them to be empowered with your vision of creating something, and they will do anything for you. Initially, it wasn't, because I came in with Hilton, very corporate, very whatever, coming out of Australian hotel industry. One of the things with the Maldivians is that it's a 6-day work week, and technically they have 1 day off. And I coming from Australia, where it's unionised, very government-controlled, overtime has to be paid, occupational health and safety, et cetera, et cetera. When I came into the Maldives, all these people were not taking the day off and working 5 weeks, 6 weeks straight. And I said, this has to stop. They can't do that. And I said, everyone must take a day off, because if I did that in Australia, I would be jailed under employment law. And it caused a massive problem with the staff. Immediately, I had one of the owners call me up. What the hell are you doing? And I'm saying, but they can't work 7 days a week. Like, they can't just accumulate 6 weeks or whatever. And he goes, what do you think they're going to do on their day off? Have a day off. But how are they going to go to their family? If their family is living down south, it takes 4 days by boat to get there. So that's not possible within the 1 day off. It's not possible for them to go to places or take the day off. So we allowed this to happen. And when you looked at it logically, talked to them, you realise that, well, it's not ideal or efficient, but it's dealing with the logistics of Maldives that when they have their day off, they accumulate it. So when they do have 6 or 7 days, they can actually get to their family. They can spend some time. If the boat breaks down or with bad weather, it's not a big issue. So I quickly learnt to not judge and quickly run into a decision, but to talk to the Maldivians, ask why they do this thing in a particular way. And I learnt a very good lesson that day. Each of the projects I've been involved with, it's taken it from a virgin or a complete new build island and created it into something very, very different. I'd like to think most of the projects I've been involved with have been very successful. The Hilton was one of my first projects where we built another 30 water villas, created a spa over water with glass floors, amazing presidential pavilions with living room floors made of glass, round motorised beds that were inspired from Austin Powers. And it broke the Hilton mould of what a Hilton is, and was incredibly popular and successful with guests and the international community. Following that, I did another project where it was traditional Maldivian boats, 60 feet long, with completely traditional on the outside, but very modern interiors, Phillips Stark bathroom. Great reviews from media, from guests, and very different to what everyone else was doing. The next project was Huafen Fushi, which translates into Dream Island. And that was very much the dream of what I wanted to create in an island. There we did an underwater spa, which had never been done before. Every room having a pool, very different designer experiences. Kate Moss's favourite, which should always come. Other projects I've been involved with include a Miller Fushi, which was taking residential and bringing my island home into the Maldives because traditionally the Maldives market was couples. Then obviously couples do things and they have families, and families then started to come into Maldives a lot more. So having multi-bedroom, 2, 3 bedroom, 5 bedroom residences are starting to become incredibly popular. Other projects, the Fairmont with the longest pool in the whole country, incredibly amazing reef and those sort of things. The last project I was involved with was Siam World, which is Maldives' largest resort with nearly 500 villas. We created an amazing sporting area, a water park like no other in the country, and an incredibly amazing natural island for couples, for families, and for the inner child within everyone. All the water villas are having water slides down into the Indian Ocean. And whether you're an adult, whether you're a child, it's a great experience. My biggest dream is my next island project, which I'm planning on doing a all-tented island. So environmentally friendly, but a very amazing luxury experience using tents in a Maldives island. So that concept is called Feligay Fushi. I've dreamt of it. I've researched a lot about tents. I've gone to Botswana, to Kenya, to South Africa, to Indonesia, to Australia, to different tented resorts. And it's a more of a interesting experience to have a resort room. Instead of a traditional villa, brick or whatever, to have very much a tented villa in the wild, in the Maldives, on the beach, is the dream. That is a very good question. I'm finding that out every hour. To come and learn, to come and listen, to come and see influential people like yourself, and learn a bit more about the country so that we can also teach a little bit about Maldives and share some of our experiences so we get more people coming to the Maldives and sharing our dream. I'm got on a plane last night and I'm here and I'm learning it hour by hour, and it's a great experience so far.
So, when you just landed, what was your experience?
Coming virtually straight here. So luckily I've had a shower and a change of clothes, so yeah.
So, what's going to be next?
I'm waiting to find that out. I thought it was an OnlyFans video here, but obviously not. I'm finding that out. So, yep, we're meeting a solar company. So, again, finding out what they're about and how, if they can work into Maldives. Again, everything apart from fish and coconuts gets imported. On a resort island, we'll be going through diesel consumption for, say, a 100-room island. You'll be going through 16,000 litres of diesel every day. So imagine taking your car up to the local petrol or fuel station and putting in 16,000 litres every day. The cost, the expense of it, the environmental impact it has. So the more ways that we can look at alternate energies, the better. There's quite a few solar programs happening. Still to this day, like obviously because solar delivers a lot of power during the day, but that's not when the electricity demand is, because the electricity demand is at night with air conditioning, with water, et cetera, So the technology hasn't, or the affordability also hasn't come yet in terms of the battery backups, etc. So you've got a lot of resorts using solar, but it's only useful during the day, and then all the generators come on at night. So there's a bit of greenwashing happening as well. So people talk up the hype, but still it's not really being that beneficial. But technology is constantly changing. That's one of the things I'm interested to see, what innovations, where you can put solar panels. Like obviously we've got a lot of back of house staff areas, but how you can make them aesthetically incorporated into the resort. Hopefully I'm looking for it. We asked the question before we came here, are they doing any walkways that you could be a dual use in terms of having walkways that are walkable on, drivable on, that could also be solar panels. So the challenges we can give and see how we can get it. Obviously it's battery backup. It's getting done in residential places all across the world. The buyback of electricity, but normally they're very government subsidised, so it's not a real payback or real commercial payback. And obviously because the amount of power that we go through in a day, having the batteries that would be capable in this day's terminal or this day's technology is a challenge. Whether Mr. Elon Musk can be helping with his new giga battery factories, that's tomorrow's technology. It's very much trying to learn and listen of what are people doing, and how it can work or can't work in Maldives environment. Obviously, Maldives environment is a very harsh, very saline. Rust is a big issue, corrosion. The salt water, it has a very damaging effect on a lot of things. Good question. I think he stalked me or I stalked him on social media. I think he's the stalker, but yeah. Well, he's kidnapped me, taken me from Maldives a day ago into Lithuania with a one-way ticket, so I'm not too sure what's going to happen. So that's why I'm worried about whether it's going to be an OnlyFans page or whether it's going to be something else. Well, I think he's trying to sell me for someone or something. So hopefully not for body parts.